Hello and welcome back to the What the 40K podcast. I'm Si.
And I'm Jay.
And today we are doing part 2 of the Primarchs, the back nine.
The back nine.
The back
first
nine.
nine was a slog.
It
took
was
an
a
hour.
slog.
It was hard work, but we are back in for part 2.
We are. So this back nine was the... No, this is back 9. I'm confusing myself. This is back 9. The first 9 was the last video. So if you haven't listened to that one, go and listen to that one. Otherwise, you won't know what's happening in the back 9 because you haven't listened to the first 9. Does that make sense?
9. It does not.
Just say 9. Okay.
That's
So
the limit of my German language
Right.
knowledge right there.
So we finished the last episode on the Blood Angels.
We did, yeah. Sanguinius, my hero.
Sanguinius, your hero. And we're back for number 10, right?
Yeah, number 10. So 10th Legion, Iron Hands. Primarch, Ferrus, Manus. Which, quite funny, is Ferrus is obviously Latin for iron. So, Manus might mean hands, I don't know. We probably need to look that up.
Sounds like
it
should be man, shouldn't it?
Yeah, Iron Man.
Oh, God,
Iron Man.
That's something completely different now.
We've just had a crossover. It's the multiverse.
It's going to be weird.
So, Ferrus Manus turned up on a world called Medusa, geologically unstable, feral world. It was gloomy, barely habitable, miserable, the standard. You'll see a theme if you go back and watch the first part. Every planet they land on is horrendous.
It's a huge theme, by the way.
Yeah, massive thing.
Yeah.
He crashed into a hidden ancient cavern that was full of tech from a previous conflict and spent most of his early years completely isolated, just tinkering around in this cavern.
You mean he was in a cave?
Yeah, like a cave.
Did he
cavern.
build things out of a box of scraps? Because we're going back to the...
That's basically what it is. That's basically what it is.
Ferrus Manus built it in a cave with a box of scraps.
That's basically his origin. Marvel ripped off Ferrus Manus.
Right,
That's basically
brilliant.
what I'm saying. Sue me. Anyway, he eventually decided to look at the tech of his pod that he landed in. And in doing so, he kind of like reactivated a system inside this ancient tech cavern and brought back to life a massive biomechanical worm monster thing.
Oh, as you do.
Yeah, like having a bad day. That worm began terrorizing the whole chuffing planet, basically. And Manus felt really, really guilty and made a vow that he would smite the creature. An oath that took him years to complete.
It was his fault.
I know, exactly, yeah. Like,
there you go, not feel guilty. I've unleashed a mechanical worm on the world.
Exactly. So he finally did it after years, trapping it in a volcano and drowning it in lava because 40k.
Like Terminator styles.
Yeah, exactly like Terminator styles.
If the worm had an arm and a hand, do you think he would have put a thumbs up as it went down?
Maybe. It'd be cinematic if he did.
Yeah, would have.
So while he was doing it, the living metal on this biomechanical worm melted in the lava and went all over his arms.
Oh no!
Hence the name Iron
Hands. Yeah.
I am Iron Man. So
yeah,
got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's basically shunned human contact for this whole time that he was there. I didn't really get any better later on. He was eventually made ruler of the clans of Medusa, but he was very hands-off with his leadership style. He was like, yeah, you do you, I'll just worry about me. Come to me when there's a real problem.
Right, got you.
So he's massively tech savvy. He's like really clever, really technical competence, stern and stoic, and he's more kind of actions rather than words kind of guy. Emperor turned up, and a little bit like Lehman Russ, Manus wanted to duel him before swearing filthy. Lost, obviously, because it's the Emperor. So, and your iron hands are only going to get you so far, pal. So he lost to the Emperor, swore filthy, and then just kind of fell in line. He's kind of known for being really loyal and stubborn and stalwart, and he's got a really, really good understanding of warfare as well. He's like a proper good. From his attributes, he's a really, really solid, good Primarch. But he just doesn't have the social fundamentals to be able to apply it really well. So like he's very, very, he's always very respected, but not very well liked because he just doesn't have that interpersonal skills to be able to, build friendships and camaraderie and inspiring leadership and all that sort of thing.
So it's like the guy at work that you'd trust to help you do a job, but you'd never invite him out on the piss.
Yeah, that guy.
Right, yeah. Okay.
That guy is Iron Man. I'm going to keep doing it. So once he was once he was united with his legion, he was more inclined to use technology because that's his kind of forte. And as such, armored vehicles over like just standard infantry assaults. And they developed a reputation of being like relentless in the pursuit of conquest, showing zero mercy for anyone he deemed weak or too weak to be part of the Emperor's vision for humanity.
Dear, that could go badly.
Yes. So weakness, technology, iron are the theme, which will become more apparent as why all those things matter when we look into the actual chapter as they became themselves, because they do like adding things to their body.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
You would have seen probably because as we're recording this, the patch 13 for Space Marine 2 has just come out. And part of the add-ons is like, here's a mechanical foot, and here's a mechanical hand, and here's a mechanical face, and
PS nipples and that.
Yeah, they're like swapping shit out for toasters. That is the 10th Legion. Or Ferrus Manus.
Ferrus Manus.
Stubborn guy built it in a cave with a box of scraps.
I knew I was right. First time I said it.
Yeah, nailed it.
Right, so Ferrus Manus. And they like augmenting their bodies with stuff.
Yeah. And it's basically, like I said, the whole theme is that weakness, flesh is weak and all that jazz. And they're, for all the guys in the chapter, their chapter daddy has got metal arms and they've all felt jealous. So go with that.
Oh, well, okay. I'm with it. So 11.
11th Legion, redacted.
Redacted.
They are the other redacted Lost Legion.
The first 9, it was number 2.
Second? Yeah, the second Legion and the 11th Legion.
The 11th Legion. Okay, so scratch them off. They are gone.
Yeah, they're gone. We don't talk about those because otherwise we get arrested.
We die, yeah. Sweet. So I'm looking for some. Yeah, number 12. I can't count. So
no,
12.
Yeah,
it may be unlucky for some.
Isn't there yet?
I know. Jesus Christ.
It was unlucky for Angron, who is the Primarch of the 12th Legion, the World Eaters. Yeah. So Angron landed. You've heard of Angron, I presume, because he's quite a well-known dude across 40K.
I have heard of Angron. I don't know much, to be fair.
Yeah. So big angry guy. He landed in the mountains of a planet called Nuceria or Nucera. I don't know. Nuceria I'm going to go with, and that's what I'm sticking with. Okay. Sue me. He survived on his own for a little while, and then he was attacked by some Eldar. So when I say a little while, I don't know how long, but he was basically a child when the Eldar attacked him. Okay. He was subsequently found by some slavers, badly wounded, but surrounded by piles of Eldar corpses. So as a child, Angron was kicking Eldar's ass.
Decent guy.
They saw Angron as an opportunity to make some money, and because they're slavers, and they sold him to the gladiatorial fighting pits.
Oh.
Yeah, so he spent his early years just butchering people for the cheers of the audience. Are you not entertained? Yeah. My name is Maximus Aurelius Angron, and all that jazz.
Nice.
So during his time in the gladiatorial pits, his only kind of support network, if you like, came from the other gladiators who was training with him. Yeah. And obviously he grew quickly, like all the Primarchs, and became a massive fan favourite because he was easily beating anything that was put in front of him because he's superhuman, superhuman demigod. He's going to beat up everything.
Yeah.
The owners of gladiatorial pits didn't like how comfortable he was becoming with winning all the time.
Well, so easy,
they decided to pitch him against his mentor,
Oh, damn.
Just, so we can't beat you physically. We will bully you emotionally and make you fight your surrogate dad. So Angron obviously refused because he considered this guy to be like his father.
Yeah.
And as punishment of refusing to fight them and, upsetting the gladiatorial overlords and the crowd and everything else, they subdued him and he underwent a load of surgery. They installed something called the Butcher's Nails.
See, I have heard about that, yeah.
Okay, so what do you think the Butcher's Nails is? Because you might be right, you might get it.
They're into his skull, I think, and if he feels anything else apart from anger, he feels pain or something.
Basically, yeah. So they are a neurological device implanted into his skull and brain that basically incite pain for any other emotion other than anger that he might feel. So if he feels anything other than pure rage, it hurts. So that's going to suck.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So Angron woke up after the surgery and found himself in the arena surrounded by a cheering audience, which is odd. And then in front of him, he found the body of his mentor completely and utterly dismembered.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So he kind of had the nails installed, went into a blackout rage, killed his mentor, and then kind of came to. And that massively broke Angron, as you can imagine. And in retaliation to that, he led a slaver revolt. So he gathered up all his gladiator buddies. They fought their way out, and they fled to the mountains, fought their way to the mountains. They lived there for years, fending off attacks from their former masters. But starvation started taking its toll. So Angron had kind of prepared the group. The numbers had dwindled, and they were starting to struggle because they weren't prepared to, they weren't prepared or able to like build a society or whatever it might be. So Angron and his dudes were preparing to die in one last attack against the slave masters with what was basically left of his gladiator family. In the midst of this, the Emperor teleported down.
Oh, hello.
Just like casually, hi guys. And it wasn't like in Avengers when Thor tips up and throws his hammer axe thing and takes everybody out and saves the day. It wasn't like that at all.
No.
He teleported down and invited Angron to leave with him, where he could lead thousands of soldiers to wage war, tapping into the fact that Angron was angry all the time.
Yeah.
Angron said no, that he wouldn't leave his gladiator buddies to die because, he's not a douchebag.
Family.
So the Emperor left.
From Tourette Styles. He left him?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he just left him.
Okay.
And then remotely teleported Angron away, leaving him to watch from the ship, leaving him to watch all of his gladiator buddies, who he said he wouldn't leave, die.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What a way to get a guy on your side.
Yeah, it's not the greatest first impression by the Emperor.
No, not at all.
So as you can imagine, Angron went fucking batshit.
Yeah. He's angry anyway. So,
yeah, he raged against the Emperor and had to be physically bound in place, psychically, physically bound in place by the Emperor to stop him from just destroying everything. He went completely off the deep end. As you'd expect, you know what I mean? Like,
well, douchebag move,
Absolute douchebag move, yeah. So the Emperor basically approached him and said, "You're going to serve, whether you like it or not, type sketch." And Angron declared that he was supposed to die with them and that all that remained of him now was a ghost.
Oh, okay.
Which is, a deep line. The Emperor's reply to that is also kind of a pretty big FU. He replied that a ghost would suffice. So, like, I really don't care about you. You will do. I don't care what version of you I get. You will do.
You'll just do. It's fine. You're empty inside. I don't care. Go over and do this.
Yeah, it was awful. So Angron was really the first of his brothers to find out how ruthless the Emperor could be and how in reality the Emperor viewed the Primarchs. Like, that was a real case of, I don't care, you are a tool. Yeah. So suck it up, buttercup, basically. which all of the other Primarchs hadn't really seen. You know, they'd all been had like
So
arms
far,
around
yeah.
shoulder chats, and it had all been quite
First
come
nine were
home
pretty
and all
good.
that.
Until Angron, the Emperor seemed semi-okay.
Yeah, Angron got screwed,
Yeah.
which, you know, feeds into his kind of whole persona of being angry all the time. But you kind of get why a little bit.
Yeah.
So when he was presented to his legion, and Angron spent the next few months on his ship, killing anyone from his legion that tried to speak to him. Anyone that came in, it basically like knock on the door,
You all right, mate?
in the face.
Dead.
Yeah, he was sulking, but sulking in a way that if you're a constantly angry demigod, how you would sulk.
That's been fucked over.
Yeah, he was fuming.
Yeah.
It was only when Khan, the betrayer, got to talk to him about his gladiators and their traditions, did Angron kind of calm down briefly, and then kind of adopt the idea of utilizing his legion to preserve and live in the memory of his kind of gladiator family. Which, little side note, is where the World Eaters were famed for chaining their weapons to their arms, something that later on the Black Templars picked up from fighting alongside the World Eaters, and that all came from what the gladiators in Angron's gladiatorial pits used to do. They used to chain the weapons to the forearms, so if they dropped them, they didn't lose them.
We can get them back.
Yeah, so that the fact that the Templars chain weapons to their arms actually comes from the World Eaters and Angron being massively screwed over by the Emperor.
He did
Random
get fucked
segue.
over.
He did massively. Yeah, he's absolutely rage incarnate. And I can absolutely understand why.
It's not like he even had the best start either.
No, like he got screwed from when he landed. I'm trying to think back through the other ones. I don't think anybody had some people had like environmental difficulties, but he like landed on a crap planet.
Yeah.
Immediately had to fight Eldar.
Yeah.
And got really badly wounded. And then instead of being saved by like some passing noble family or whatever, he was put into slavery,
thrown into the
and
pits,
then forced to fight in gladiatorial pits. And just when he thought he was getting somewhere, the Emperor turned up and took him away, and then he had to watch all his mates die.
Yeah, he's not had the best start, has he?
No, I feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then I don't. But we'll get to the reason why you then subsequently don't feel sorry for him later. But yeah, he had a rough start.
That's a future episode.
Yeah. So next, now you can say
lucky for
it.
some.
Well done.
Thank you.
10
mate.
points for you for learning like nursery level counting.
I'm smart.
So 13th Legion, Primarch, Rabute Guilliman, Ultramarines.
Yes.
My little tagline for Rabute is the Quartermaster. Because of just how the guy is. He is the Primarch of spreadsheets, and you will see why. So, more than any other, Guilliman had the easiest life. Period.
Okay.
Like, in comparison to all the others, we talked about Jagatai Khan landing on a nice planet, and he had, it's quite good.
He had not a bad gig. Yeah.
Guilliman had it way easier than Jagatai. So he landed on the temperate world of Macragge, which was a pretty well-developed society, and Guilliman was not found by slaves or tribes or barbarians or pirates or whatever. He was found by the ruling elite of the planet. So absolute jackpot. So he's basically raised in luxury, given the best education and the best opportunity for growth.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
What more could a grown Primarch want?
Yeah, so he grew quickly like all the rest. So by the age of 10, he's a man, but he's 10 years old, but he's a man. He had command of armies. he was outgrowing all of his tutors in every category because of how intelligent he was and how quickly he was picking things up. He was just performing exceptionally well on an academic level, and as a commander, but he'd had this, it was given to him on a platter. He had every opportunity to succeed.
Yeah. This way is a golden boy.
Kind of, maybe. I think he is a product of his environment. He was given at the point where the Emperor found him, he was already so well developed into what the Emperor would have wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other ones still required nurturing and shaping and exposure and teaching and all the rest of it. Guilliman kind of had all that when he was found, and the thing that makes him stand apart, and the reason why you've kind of got to respect him is what he did with that position and what he did with that opportunity is what is so impressive.
Okay.
So the first part of it is that there were on Macragge there were some tribes living outside of society. They were religious mountain clans, and they were living outside of society, and they were causing all kinds of problems for Guilliman's family and the kind of general population.
Yeah.
So Guilliman decided he was going to go solve that problem. So he went and dueled the barbarian leader to save the lives of both armies. Very much a case of there's no point in our armies fighting. Me and you'll just fight, and it'll save loads of people's lives.
Yeah, classic way of doing it.
Yeah, classic way. Classic, but really unfair because Guilliman is a fucking demigod. So not really fair, but classic. Guilliman just dodged and parried for the entire duration of the duel. So he didn't strike back at this guy at all. He just dodged and parried until the barbarian leader was completely exhausted and could barely lift his sword. He just on the defense, slipping strikes and all the rest of it until the guy was laid out. Then, instead of killing him, Guilliman brought out an artifact that his father had captured sometime before during the battles between society and these mountain clans, and offered it to the barbarian leader. Obviously, that gesture, it was the kind of first time that these mountain clans had not been met with hostility and war and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And it was like, this guy's all right. And he beat them through diplomacy and by setting an example and kindness rather than stabby
blood.
Yeah. So as a result, the mountain clans returned to society, and that whole problem on Macragge just went away, solved it. So when he returned from duffing up the mountain clans, he found that a coup was in progress in the main part of society, and that his adopted father had been assassinated.
Oh, okay.
Bad times. Starting to sound more like the other Primarchs now.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, so he broke the coup, obviously, when he returned with the armies and stuff, and assumed leadership. And then in 5 years, did he not only tame Macragge, but basically every nearby system he could reach. So he took leadership and expansion and diplomacy to a whole different level. All the other Primarchs are like, oh yeah, I'm going to unite some clans, or I'm going to save a moon or a planet or whatever. Guilliman took that to the nth degree and was colonizing every system he could reach.
He's already doing the Emperor's work before the Emperor even found him. Right.
Yeah. Which is, yes, he had a leg up at the start, but what he did with that's impressive. You know what I mean? Yeah, he knows what he's doing. So when the Emperor arrived, it was a conversation.
I bet he was happy, wasn't he? I bet he was happy. None of this anger and bollocks. He didn't teleport him away. He went, fair play, good job, son.
Yeah, there was no duel. There was no competition. It was just a conversation, just an explanation, and Rabute joined the club. As easy as that. It was like, yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah.
You're doing on a larger scale what I've been doing here. I'm in.
Yeah. And whilst Guilliman is absolutely a capable warrior and, commander and strategic leader and tactician, all the rest of it, he was very, very clearly, we talk about the attributes and the kind of genetic design of Primarchs. His tool function was very clearly designed for what comes after war, because it was just innate in him. He just had the ability to conquer and lead, but not just through violence, through diplomacy and everything else. Probably, one of the only examples we're up to the 13th Primarch, and probably the only examples of any kind of acts of kindness we've seen. Maybe Sanguinius with him sparing the people of Baal, but Guilliman is the guy. He understands logistics, he understands proper warfare, not just at the pointy end at all stages. Which is why he's
Smart
doing
dude.
the job he's doing right now.
Running the show.
It does make you wonder why he didn't get the title of War Master, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah, good point.
So 14th Legion. 14th is Mortarion. He is the Primarch of the Death Guard.
See, they already sound bad, don't they?
Yeah, not a great name, is it? Like, you know, all the other ones like Ultramarines and Angels and all the other stuff, and these guys are called Death Guard.
Death Guard.
So, yeah, his little tag that I've given him is the Plague Doctor, which also doesn't sound great. So he was basically entirely forged by hardship. He's like the opposite of Guilliman. Everything about Mortarion's upbringing was difficult. So he crashed onto a world called Barbarous, which was a poisonous death world where poisonous clouds are everywhere, and they get thicker the higher up into the atmosphere you go.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, any human population live in, like, the low-lying valleys where the poison clouds are at their weakest, and you go up a mountain, you know, you go up 100 feet, it gets worse. You go up 200 feet, it gets worse. You know, you get the gist.
Yeah, yeah. No one's climbing on Everest, are they?
No.
No one's doing the 3 peaks.
Yeah, you're lucky if you can climb a tree without coughing up a lung. Mortarion was found as a baby by an alien warlord who effectively kept him as a pet, which is hilarious. And he kept him in the mountains.
Where it's gassy.
Yes, well done. I'm glad you remembered what I said 4 seconds ago.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, but he did this because he was impressed that he could survive. He was struggling, but he could survive the toxic clouds because obviously he's a Primarch, so he's not genetically the same as people. This alien warlord was used to normal humans and them climbing a tree and falling out of it with no lungs left. This guy could kind of stomach it a little bit more, and he found the alien warlord kind of find that entertaining. So as he grew quickly, standard, the alien warlord began to bring Mortarion along on his little campaigns against the warlords, other alien warlords and stuff. And it kind of blessed Mortarion with the exposures to fighting and leading armies and all the other stuff that comes with being a warlord. But Mortarion knew all the way along that the warlord was obviously an alien and that his own kind lived below the clouds, down in the valleys. But he also knew that the warlord was afraid of him. And the reason he knew that is because as Mortarion grew, the warlord relocated Mortarion and made sure that the warlord's home was much higher in the mountains where even Mortarion couldn't breathe. So he was kind of protecting himself from Mortarion by utilizing giant poisonous clouds.
Defensive maneuver, I'll move house. And every time you grow, I'll keep moving higher.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good. It's like logical, you know, use your environment. I get
sense.
that. Yeah. So Mortarion eventually escaped. He'd always, you know, he'd known this guy was an alien. He knew his own kind were living down in the valleys and stuff off the mountain. So he eventually escaped, and he found human civilization. And they were immediately really scared and superstitious and weak from the constant attacks from the alien warbands. So they're terrified, superstitious, really, really weak, like I said. And then this huge guy comes down out of the poison clouds. So as you can imagine, his initial reception wasn't great.
I assume not, no. This big hulking figure comes down.
So over time, they eventually began to trust him. You know, he was kind of gently living amongst them and, you know, just not being a douchebag. So over time, they began to trust him, which eventually culminated in a peasant uprising. So Mortarion had taught the humans how to fight, how to forge weapons and make basic respirators for the population so they could fight back against these alien clans that were just harassing them and enslaving them and all the other stuff that was going on.
Yeah, good.
Kind of cool.
Good guy.
So Mortarion led the humans in defeating the alien clans, just kind of moving around and improving stuff and, you know, kind of one by one defeating all these other alien clans, with the final clan being that of his adoptive alien father, as you would imagine.
Alien overlord.
Yeah, cinematic ending. So before the assault, a stranger appeared and challenged Mortarion to take the fortress of his adoptive father alone. And that if he failed, the forfeit was that he would swear loyalty to the stranger. Can you guess who the stranger was?
Was it the Emperor?
It might have been. Well done, Si. You can count to 13 and pick up basic cues. Well done. So the Emperor snuggled in, disguised, and basically baited Mortarion into taking this fortress on his own. So being prideful and stubborn and probably a little bit arrogant, Mortarion basically didn't back down and accepted the challenge to go and take this fortress on his own. Didn't go well, as you can imagine, because as we discussed earlier, this guy had built his thing higher up, so where Mortarion would struggle, and Mortarion in the end passed out due to the poison.
Oh my god.
Yeah, not great. So the stranger stepped in to save him and revealed himself as the Emperor, saving the day. The Emperor is obviously he's built different, isn't he? So the poison wasn't a drama for the Emperor, so he stepped in and saved the day. So Mortarion as a person is kind of humorless, really strict, and he didn't really make friends because of kind of how he is. He has this reputation of being uncompromising and kind of grim and relentless, but also quite angry and bitter. But when you think about, he probably met Guilliman for the first time and was like, oh, so what was your childhood like? And then Guilliman recounted his childhood, and Mortarion
was wonderful.
Yeah.
Many a feast, having a wine with the family.
Exactly, yeah. And even like the other ones, some of the other ones, you must be like, hang on a minute, I grew up in a fucking poison cloud. That's not fair. So he was not. He didn't have the greatest upbringing, and it kind of carried over. He physically as well, he isn't as. He's still massive and is still super strong and all the rest of it, but in comparison to the other Primarchs, he didn't grow as well. He didn't fill out as much as the other Primarchs because obviously he's living on a death world full of poison. So
gas will do that to you. Yeah,
he looked ill. You know what I mean? It's just the way his upbringing was. He then went on to. He was recruiting from Barbarous, so he's kind of his way of redeeming the population of and saving the people who kind of saved him, if you like, is he was recruiting from there for his chapter. So that was fun.
Fair play.
Yeah, but they are the closest. His way of warfare is the closest to a war of attrition that Space Marines have. We normally link attritional warfare to like the Imperial Guard, where they just throw bodies at a problem. Yeah. Mortarion is quite a similar kind of mindset. It's all about resilience, and he would march through no man's land to take ground rather than being tactically astute and kind of using any kind of tactical flair. It's just the way he is.
Less smart, more gung-ho.
Yeah, and bitter.
And bitter with it, yeah.
Great combo.
Throw it in the mix.
Yeah. So, 15th Legion is Magnus.
Yes.
Of the Thousand Sons, who I have just called the Wizard, because I think by this point I was getting pretty lazy with the nicknames. So he's just called the Wizard.
He is the one that's psychically charged, right?
Yeah, to the max. He is proper full-on psycho wizard boy.
Dude, that's his nickname.
Yeah. So he landed on a planet called Prospero and was adopted by scholars. Now, you, as a Space Wolves player, I'm sure you've read stuff. Prospero probably perked an ear, maybe?
It's cropped up, yeah. It's cropped up.
Yeah, once or twice. Kind of like a sub chapter. Not really important. Don't worry about it. So he was adopted by scholars in a colony of outcasts, psychers and mutants.
Oh, a lot of things the Imperium don't usually like. Yeah.
He crashed into the central plaza, so made an entrance where he popped out. The key word, he popped out conscious. So all the other ones were like babies, and he is conscious. He can remember everything because of how powerful a psyker he was, to the point where he can even remember his birth. You can't see it, but I did air quotes for birth because test tube. But yeah, so he's that psychically powerful that he was kind of conscious of everything. He was like awake when he got yeeted through the galaxy. He was awake and like, oh, this is kind of cool. You know what I mean?
I'm going fast. I'm in danger.
Yeah, to pull the Ralph. It wasn't long before he was having psychic conversations with the Emperor via the warp before they would even meet, because he's a really, really powerful psyker.
So his psychic abilities are that powerful. It's more than just having a good memory. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, that isn't his party trick.
Just want to confirm.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more to him than like, I could remember when I was born.
Okay.
Yeah. So Magnus grew, assumed a leadership position like most of them did, and then restored an ancient city there, and he cleansed the planet of these weird giant psycho wasps. Terrible combo, like psychic wasps. Who came up with that?
I know, wasps are dicks already.
Yeah, exactly. You had
psychic ones, would you?
You had Lionel Johnson fighting, what do we say, chaos squirrels, and this guy gets psychic wasps. Brilliant.
Oh, dear.
Giant psychic wasps as well. Bad times. He oversaw the development of the planet to such a point that when the Emperor finally arrived, he basically saw a planet that was ready to join the Imperium. Magnus had kind of done his work for him. They could just kind of like change the flag over and it was done, which is pretty cool. He developed a really deep connection with the Emperor due to their kind of psychic compatibility. The Emperor had obviously met a load of his other sons and stuff, but Magnus was the only one that he had that real psychic connection with. I've written down here, it's like the psycho equivalent of playing catch with your dad. That's kind of the only way I can kind of describe it. It was their kind of bonding moment over this kind of psychic connection. Nice. So, segue but relevant. The Emperor knew the intent of the Chaos Gods. So he knows all about the Chaos Gods. He knows what they want. He knows they exist. And at this point in the world, that's not common knowledge. So it's not like now where chaos is a thing and everybody knows about chaos, and demons ripping through portals, and that wasn't happening. So nobody really knew anything about chaos. As a result, the Emperor had to be pretty tough on Magnus to make sure he didn't end up dabbling with stuff he shouldn't. Because
it was that linked.
Yeah, that's psychically powerful that he could end up playing around in the warp. It's like playing in traffic and and messing around with the Chaos Gods. So he had to be pretty tough on Magnus. Where it went wrong is that the Emperor didn't actually really explain why. He just basically said, because I said so, which we all remember from being kids, is the equivalent of saying, fuck you. So he just said, because I said so. That does not extinguish the curiosity of a guy whose mind is as powerful as Magnus.
No, if someone says don't do something, you automatically want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as a result, Magnus continued to seek knowledge, which is bad times. His brothers the other Primarchs knew that Magnus was a psyker, but the Emperor hadn't explained all the chaos shenanigans. So as a result, when demons started randomly appearing, they were blaming Magnus.
Yeah, as you would, I suppose.
Yeah, because they were like, you're the guy who can do all this mad, weird stuff, and now you've turned up and all these demons are here. They basically blame Magnus.
Yeah.
As at the time, the Emperor was basically denying their existence.
Exactly.
So
they're going to say, well, it ain't Pops, is it? He's not going to do that, is he?
Exactly.
He brought us together. It must be you.
The Emperor kind of hung him out to dry a little bit there, which is a dick move. But compared to Angron, not that much of a dick move.
No.
So Magnus then kind of made it his mission to kind of try and prove the usefulness of psykers to kind of get rid of this stigma stereotype that was bounding round, and as a result created librarians, or the librarium. So where librarians come from is Magnus. Magnus made that.
Oh,
which is kind of cool. No. And that proved so successful that nearly all the legions ended up using them, because they were just, having guys who can shoot lightning is useful.
Oh, it's handy. Yeah. Got full Palpatine, like.
Yeah. But that said, there was such mixed views on Psykers or whether or not they should be used, and it was starting to cause dramas because some of the Primarchs were like, no, that shouldn't happen, and different people on Terra, no, we shouldn't do this, and demons were popping up and stuff was going wrong, and there was psychically associated things going wrong that people were still like, this, we shouldn't be doing this is a bad idea. So it got to the point where the Emperor had to intervene, and Magnus was effectively put on trial over the implementation of librarians and the use of psychic powers and all the rest of it. And basically it was decided that at that point in time, that the only psychers that were to be used by the legions were astropaths and navigators, and that's it. No more librarians. So the librarians, who had been trained at this point by Magnus, had to kind of just hide the fact that they could shoot lightning out of their hands and stuff.
And then what did they do? Sign up?
They just
at the job centre.
Yeah, it just went back to being a line trooper in the legions of, it's like, it'd be like, I don't know, it'd be like having a Lamborghini engine and putting in a Ford Focus or a Ford Fiesta, and just be like
plodding on down the road.
Yeah, we'll just pretend that we're a normal Ford Fiesta when actually we could be a Lamborghini.
Yeah, fair play.
So Magnus, as you can imagine, Magnus wasn't happy at all. But yeah, he kind of just had to suck up the fact that his kind of pet project had been ruined.
Sad for him.
And then I have to put a pin in Magnus there. We could talk way more, but it opens up another category that we're going to talk about in another video, and I don't want to start leaning into
we have to. Yeah, that's another episode, isn't it?
Yes. So we'll end with Magnus was not happy. All his psyker mates were put in the corner.
And nobody puts Psykers in the corner.
That's not it, but that works. Yeah. Psykers are on timeout.
We'll go for it.
Naughty step. Cool. Right. So the 16th Legion,
number 16,
is the Lunar Wolves. Their Primarch Horus Lupercal.
There he is.
Yeah. So he was the first found Primarch. So he was the first one to be found by the Emperor.
Yeah.
So his capsule landed on Chthoniya, which is a mining world. And it was a planet of a star system kind of within the reach of slower than light distance of Terra. So he was quite close. He only had a very short trip when he landed. So he was taken in by one of the many gangs on this planet. It's a mining world full of gangs and we've seen it before with all the other ones, corruption, blah, 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 blah.
The usual stuff.
So he was the usual ones. So he was taken in by one of the many gangs on the planet. His Primarch abilities did not manifest as quickly as we've seen on the other ones. I don't know if it was because he was like flying through space for less time. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have the chance to kind of get the early development whilst in his pod done, so it happened slower.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so it didn't manifest as quickly. So he grew up kind of competing with the other gang members, as you just would if you were a low-level gangbanger in a gang. As a result, this made him massively opportunistic and cunning, and above all, and this is the key, ding, 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 hungry for approval. So he was vying for the attention of the people who mattered within the gang by competing with all the other people who didn't matter within the gang. So he ended up having massive, not daddy, but daddy issues.
Yeah.
The gang had a run-in with a load of Mechanicum tech priests, and they identified Horus as a lost Primarch, nabbed him, and sent him to Terra.
Oh damn.
Yeah. So he got sent back to Terra, As a result of being first found and getting sent back to Terra, he didn't get a grand, like, oh, the Emperor's appeared on your planet, all that sort of stuff. The Emperor, at that point, I don't even know if the Emperor had a plan to actively go and look for the Primarchs. Just one got delivered to him, like Uber Eats, but for children.
Nice.
As a result, he got to spend a lot of time with the Emperor. And his early development, where everybody else kind of did their early development with humans, and yes, they might be royalty, but they're still humans, or clans or tribes or whatever. Horus got to do it alongside the Emperor, so he was trained in the ways of war and strategy by the Emperor himself.
Well, that's a heads up, isn't it? It's a foot forward.
He was then, once he reached the appropriate level of understanding and skill, was given his Legion of Space Marines. And he deployed into the Great Crusade and became the guy of the Great Crusade in the early years. He was the Emperor's right-hand man. He grew into being the perfect right-hand man for the Emperor, and spent 30 years fighting alongside the Emperor, saving each other's lives multiple times and building that kind of relationship and and that camaraderie between them by fighting in the Great Crusade. So he was in like day one.
Yeah, I think that answers the question why he was picked then to lead.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I think the Emperor felt he could ironically trust him the most, and he had the most experience because he had been leading his Space Marines for a long time before any of the other Primarchs even got their hands on theirs.
Yeah.
And also the reason why the Lunar Wolves were so effective and so good, I imagine, because they'd had their Primarch for so long, comparatively. But Horus had become used to being the only son, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And he had proper single child syndrome. So he was prideful, and he had a superiority complex, which could often cause friction with the other Primarchs in the future, especially after being named War Master, because it's making him commander of the Imperial forces, kind of second to the Emperor, kind of reinforced that.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah, reinforce that superiority complex, which kind of it distanced him from some of the other Primarchs. Others could kind of just look past it for what it was, and it was fine, and they formed decent relationships. But yeah, it made life difficult.
Yeah.
But he was super talented, from a commander perspective, or like a general. He was brilliant because he'd learn everything firsthand from
the Emperor himself. Yeah.
From the Emperor, and I imagine he probably had custodies kicking around and stuff. So he would have learned from the very best. And like you said, given a proper foot forward, leg up in terms of his development as a leader. He was peerless. He was easily the most capable and most competent of the Primarchs.
It makes complete sense, doesn't it? But it still had issues. The only child syndrome and stuff, and I'm better than you, and I was first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, proper single child syndrome, which is not a great combo. Okay, again, he's another one that we can't talk about a lot. Yeah,
hang back on Horus, the old Horus hang up.
We have to do. Heresy's a weird surname as well, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it just?
Right, so 17th leader. Right, so 7th. You just interrupt me again. Good. Shut up, because I'm going to try for a third time. Right, 17th Legion, the Word Bearers.
Ah, yes.
And their Primarch, Lorgar Aurelian, who I've coined the Preacher.
Preacher.
Yeah, so everyone's favourite Primarch, Lorgar. Everybody loves him. He's amazing. So he crashed into the deserts of a planet called Colchis. He was found quickly by abandoned nomads and a priest who quickly recognized that the child was something special.
Indeed.
Yeah, so it was really like inspirational moment. The priest was especially keen, as he subsequently slaughtered all of the nomads in order to keep Lorgar a secret.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. So found by a big group of people who were being led by this priest, and rather than being like, oh yeah, I'm a good guy, he just killed everybody that was with him to protect Lorgar as a secret.
Doesn't seem like a priestly thing to do, does it?
No, the next part does though. So he was then raised in a harsh, religiously strict environment, filling him with a natural attraction to faith. Lorgar was physically and mentally abused by the high priest to ensure that Lorgar was loyal to him. See, now it sounds like a priest.
Now it sounds like a priest, yeah.
Yeah. So he was taken to church, literally, and kept in church and raised in a church. You see a thing.
Yeah.
As he grew, his psychic abilities began to manifest, and he began dreaming of a giant person in golden armor, accompanied by a blue-robed cyclops, and they were coming to Colchis.
A blue-robed cyclops?
Yes.
Okay.
Weird, I know.
Yeah.
So he'd been having these dreams on and off, hadn't kept them to himself, hadn't really said anything. He eventually decided he was going to tell his religious rulers because he wanted some guidance and support and all the other good stuff that comes from, I don't know, speaking to priests. But as you can imagine, they subsequently declared Lorgar a heretic, irony, and tried to arrest him. It was at that point where Lorgar finally embraced his kind of Primarch nature and was like, no, I don't think so. And then within 6 years of them trying to arrest him, Lorgar was the ruler of a fanatically loyal planet. So he took there, trying to arrest me. Uno reversed it, wiped out the kind of ruling priest class and assumed control of the planet. The entire planet was just like a big church. The whole planet was just religiously zealous and fanatically loyal. It was insane.
Wowza.
Yeah. So the Emperor and Magnus arrived as per the dream. So the blue-robed Cyclops, get your words out, was Magnus. I'm assuming the Cyclops part was to do with his psychic being because the third eye and all that jazz.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, so they arrived as per the dream, and Lorgar gladly pledged his loyalty, and the worship on the planet changed overnight. They were now worshipping the Emperor, like immediately, because they were just this whole planet full of people desperately searching for somebody to worship, and that person was the Emperor because he turned up magically in giant golden armor. That's going to do it.
Oh, it will help. Yeah. It's an impact, isn't it?
15 foot tall or whatever he was, I can't remember. But yeah, so that happened. So despite joining his legion and taking part in the Crusades, Lorgar would not stop worshipping the Emperor as a god, despite the imperial truth, which is obviously the Emperor saying religion is abolished, there is no gods,
do not worship
screw
me.
you,
yeah,
no religion. Despite that, Lorgar just kept chipping away the Emperor is a god, to the point where everywhere the world bearers conquered, they erected a cathedral in worship of the Emperor. So, as you can imagine, the Emperor was pissed because the 17th Legion were slow at everything they did, mainly because they kept stopping to build bloody cathedrals everywhere.
That will slow progress down, won't it?
Yeah,
I found that. So if I'm in work and I've got a job to do, if I then just put that job on hold to go and build a full-size cathedral, my boss will probably be upset that I haven't completed the task yet.
Yeah, it slows things
it's weird,
down,
isn't it? Yeah, it does. It does.
Odd how that happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Emperor not happy. Cathedrals bad, religion bad, general disgust, not happy. So to dissuade Lorgar from continuing to be a religious douche, the Emperor brought the Ultramarines to his perfect capital city and forced Lorgar to watch as it was razed to the ground.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so he utilized another legion. I'm getting a little bit of Angron vibes here.
Yeah.
Utilized another legion to just tear down the thing Lorgar loved the most right in front of him.
Dear. Yeah. Good times.
So Lorgar, fanatical, zealous, absolutely blinded by faith. Even, it's just if he'd grown up anywhere else, like any other planet, anywhere else, he might have been all right. But the fact that he grew up on a planet that was entirely enshrouded in religion
Yeah, it's
Just kind of screwed him.
gonna mess with your head a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Lorgar, the Primarch of the 17th. Another one that we can't really talk too much more about because
Future
he
episodes,
is important.
people.
Yes. So 18th Legion.
18.
Yeah, the Salamanders and their Primarch Vulcan.
Yes, we know the Salamanders.
Yes, I've coined Vulcan the friendly neighborhood blacksmith.
Brilliant.
Which is the most un-Primarchy nickname ever, but I like it, so it sticks.
We're going with it.
Yeah, so he landed on the planet of Nocturne. I kind of looked out a little bit.
Yeah.
Not like Gilliman. He didn't land in royalty's lap, but because the planet was awful. Like, still is a death world, a crap planet. But Vulcan was something called a perpetual.
Which means he can't die.
No, it means he's really good at puppets.
Oh. Sorry, I got them confused.
Yeah, no, the other one. No, yeah, so you're right. So he can't die. So he can't die. Kind of...
And he was good at puppets, actually. It's in the law.
Yeah, so. Side note. Hobby party trick. Magnus's was, I can remember when he was born, Vulcan, good at puppets.
Good at puppets. Had their own version of Thunderbirds.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Emperor is also perpetual. And Vulcan was a perpetual. So it means that even though things were rough and hard and difficult, he's a perpetual. So it doesn't really matter. He also landed in something akin to a kind of town come city. And he was taken in by a blacksmith and identified as one of the prophesied saviors according to something called the Promethean cult, which is kind of like a religion, but not really. But they had these theories that a prophet, a savior prophet, would arrive in the similar sort of circumstances to which Vulcan arrived. So they just put two and two together and were like, yeah, this is the guy.
This is the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So like all Primarchs, he grew quickly. And by the age of 3, he was bigger than everybody, all the other men on the planet.
It's stupid.
But he was also highly intelligent and had been able to vastly improve the already considerable works of the famed blacksmiths on the planet. So he was like, yeah, that's cool, but watch this. And just bashing out like better weapons and better armor and better tools and everything because he was clever. And that's how life works when you're a demigod.
Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing all right. So at age 4, his town was attacked by dusk wraiths. I'm going to say that again because I struggled with the TH. Dusk wraiths. Who are like degenerate Dark Eldar dudes, slavers, who were, they were on a slave-taking expedition. The people of his hometown hid, which is what they usually did every time these guys came raiding because they did it quite regularly. Came down, steal a load of people, bugger back off. Nice. Vulcan, being Vulcan and a Primarch, refused to hide. So he stood there. Bear in mind, he's 4.
Yeah.
Armed only with a pair of blacksmith's hammers, he roused the people from hiding and drove back the assault, single-handedly slaying 100 Eldar warriors.
You don't fuck with a Primarch, do you?
No, like Angron was punching Eldar as a baby. Vulcan's dropping hundreds of them with hammers as a 4-year-old. You don't, just leave them alone. Just let them do whatever they want. Because if you've got a 4-year-old that is 6'5", and built like a brick shit house, then just let him be. Just do what you want, mate. Yeah. Honestly.
You're all good, mate.
Yeah. And that's kind of what the people of Nocturne did, because the leaders of 7 major settlements all came to pay homage to Vulcan, swearing to fight back rather than hide. So you've got leaders of settlements coming to pay homage to a 4-year-old who doesn't look like a 4-year-old, but it's still technically a 4-year-old. So, yeah. Years later, during a tournament in honor of Vulcan defeating the Eldar that they ran every year, because he was that much of a badass, a stranger appeared and asked to take part, claiming he could beat any man at the competition that was part of this feast and tournament. So the competition lasted 8 Nocturne days, and the contest included loads of tests of strength and endurance.
So the last time someone came down and wanted a contest was the Space Wolves.
Yes, so this is akin to Lehman Russ, but slightly different. So there's no eating and drinking, because these are all tests of strength and endurance, but still, like...
And he would have lost.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So the people of Nocturne were treated to the spectacle of two godlike beings competing against one another. Utterly astonishing. You know, it was incredible. The mere mortals were looking up at these two guys that had superhuman prowess. Bear in mind, everybody was revering Vulcan as this amazing guy, enough that they had a fucking tournament for him every year. And then another one appears.
I know, yeah.
And they're
How
like,
lucky are we?
This is crazy, yeah. Many of the contests had to be called a draw between Vulcan and the fair-skinned stranger, the Emperor, because there was just simply no way to determine a victor. They were just too close. The final trial was hunting something called a fire drake, which is a huge species of salamander, big, giant lizard.
Big lizardy thing.
Yeah, whoever caught the largest salamander won. That's it. And that was their way they were going to decide the final victor. So Vulcan found his prey first, smashing its head off with a single blow from his hammer. And then he's like, yeah, happy, I'm off. As he was carrying it back, the volcano that he'd grabbed the salamander on erupted unexpectedly. Vulcan was nearly thrown off a cliff, but managed to grab onto a ledge with one hand, stubbornly grasping the tail of his reptilian prize in the other. So you can imagine him hanging off a cliff, hanging on with one hand, holding his giant lizard in the other. Got it?
Oh, yeah, I'm there.
Good.
And bear in mind for the people that are listening, the Emperor was concealing his true identity at this point as well.
Yes. Yeah. He was just a fair-skinned stranger, as described in the law.
Normal-looking blokey-ish.
At the point, actually, the reason he keeps saying fair-skinned stranger is because the people of Nocturne were dark-skinned. I didn't mention that before.
Because of the planet.
Because of the planet. So they are dark-skinned. Red eyes as well, I think.
Yeah.
Look really, really scary, which is ironic. And we'll talk about that. Anyway, so Vulcan held on for several solar hours, but his grip was finally beginning to slip. And it was at that point in time that the stranger reappeared, carrying a salamander way bigger than the one that Vulcan was carrying. The stranger quickly threw his carcass of his lizard into the lava, using its heat-resistant hide as a bridge to cross over to save Vulcan, thus destroying his lizard.
Yeah.
Which was, a really kind and generous thing to do.
Well,
Vulcan was declared the winner of the contest when they returned back because he had the bigger salamander. Yeah. As the stranger had lost his. Vulcan silenced the crowd and he knelt before the stranger, stating that any man who valued life over pride was worthy of his service. And at that moment, the stranger revealed to Vulcan his true nature as the Emperor of Mankind.
I am the Emperor.
Big reveal. Horns and trumpets from the distance, banners drop down, the usual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
That's a pretty good story, though.
Yeah, it is. And when you read the whole thing, I highly recommend people go away and dig into it because I'm just skimming. That's probably the most detailed, but it kind of needs the detail for it to all make sense. But yeah, the stories are brilliant. All of them. All of the Primarch origin stories are absolutely brilliant. Most of them. Some of them are a bit. But yeah, so Vulcan is calm, wise, steadfast. Just a good guy. He met his legion. They recruited from Nocturne as well, and they're just this immovable object when it comes to the defense of others. They are they're not stubborn, but they have like a genuine care and compassion for humanity to the point where they will forgo tactical objectives to save people and humanity, which is odd.
They're the good guys as far as people go in this universe. Yeah.
Well, we said before, which is odd considering their weapon of choice is a flamethrower and they're dark skinned with red eyes.
Yeah.
So
they look menacing, they use fire, but we're actually decent.
Yeah. The most friendly people are probably the most intimidating to look at.
Yeah, you'd run to someone else before you run to them.
Yeah.
But then you'd die.
Or run back.
Yeah.
Yeah, good guys. Good guys. We like the Salamanders. We like Vulcan.
Yeah, I think everyone does, don't they?
19th Legion
Number 19.
is the Raven Guard and their Primarch, Corvus Corax.
Corvus Corax. Okay.
Are you picking up any Latin translations of those words at all?
No. I don't speak Latin. I gave it up.
I do. So Corvus is Raven. So there we go.
I guess that.
Yeah, could have. So I've nicknamed him the Sneaky Emo.
That's a great name.
Yeah, didn't start. The Sneaky Emo. He has the black swooshy hair and where are you and all that. So he was found on the moon of Lycaeus, and his backstory is really similar to Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords. You remember him, Psycho Batman?
Oh, I remember Psycho Batman.
Yeah. So his upbringing was very, very similar. The difference being that Corvus was found and raised by actual people and raised properly.
Oh, yeah, instead of, the hell that...
Yeah, instead of being left entirely alone in the underground, in the underworld of a poor mining world, he was actually found by people who looked after him. So he was found and taken in by slave miners in a prison. Many of the prisoners that were in there were radicals condemned for holding views opposite to the tech guilds that ruled Kaivar, which is the main planet. So he was on the moon. Kaivar was the main planet, and as a result, they kind of just chinned him off. The notions of kind of justice and human dignity had no place in this regime at all. They were absolutely brutal overlords, standard stuff. So Corax swore to his protectors that he would liberate them from this cruel existence. And fortunately for Corax and the Imperium at large, the mentors around Corax at the time kind of cautioned him and counseled him against overt defiance or vengeance or anything too drastic, just to kind of be chill, be a little bit chill.
Chill out, mate. Calm down.
Like the opposite to what happened with the Night Lords, because he did the opposite and he was full on, I am vengeance, I am justice.
He like disemboweling people and stuff, so...
Yeah. So, yeah, Corax went the other way, which is good. So he kind of learned from these people that would mentor him, he kind of learned to bide his time and observe his foes and all that sort of stuff. And he was planning far ahead towards a day that he'd be able to lead an uprising and overthrow the overlords rather than just, rage and death. Yeah. So a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more planned, a little bit more stable and not psychotic.
Yeah.
Corax was lucky. He was born built-in stealth build straight off the rip, and he was often able to go where other people weren't. He had an uncanny ability to basically go unseen, even if he was stood in the eye line of people.
Oh, okay.
And that seems to be like a psychic projection. It's the way they describe it in the lore is it's almost like he can project a blank on the minds of the people he's looking at. He's almost wills them not to see him.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Really cool. Not as good as being able to see the future or remembering your birth or being a puppet master, but still pretty good. So through loads of planning and preparation, eventually Corax led his uprising. And in a necessarily bloody battle, Corax and his fellow freedom fighters took over the prison.
Nice.
The bloodshed was great, but not all of the prisoners that have been in prison there were there for political ideals or whatever. Many of them were just murderers and worse, So unfortunately, he was forced by necessity to utilize their fighting abilities to take over the prison on the condition that they never repeat using those abilities once they were free. Dangerous game to play, but that's what he went for. So the Emperor arrived not long after the moon that he was on had been liberated, obviously with the eventual plan of we're going to get rid of the overlords on the actual planet. They were still on the moon at this point. So the Emperor arrived, and unusually he arrived alone. So him and Torax got to talk one-on-one for hours, kind of just discussing. Nobody knows for sure what they were discussing, but kind of human nature and plans, and catch up. Slightly different to Angron's introduction, but they got a nice catch up for hours, and then eventually the Emperor left him to complete his mission of dismantling the tech guilds on the main planet of Kivar. So he kind of just left him to it, but provided no assistance. So he's not like, oh, I'll help you with this, son. He just kind of left him to it. So Korax used the weapons that he had available at the time, which happened to be a stockpile of atomic missiles.
Well, I mean, that will do it.
Yeah, so he bombarded from the moon. He bombarded the cities below, down on Kivar, however you want to pronounce it, using these atomic missiles, which sounds really harsh, but seemingly,
I'm thinking,
kind of
quite large there.
Yeah, but the Emperor seemingly let this whole thing play out to show Korax that sometimes you have to kind of kill thousands to save millions, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't
good.
Yeah, he didn't carpet bomb the whole planet. He was targeting these facilities and the buildings of the tech guilds. So these aren't full on nukes. So it's not, it's not nuclear waste. He's not radiating the planet. They're just atomic missiles. So eventually the planet was liberated and renamed Deliverance, and it eventually became the home world of Korax's chapter, Ravengard, which is kind of cool. So yeah, he did the usual thing. So he liberated the moon, then he liberated the planet, got rid of the tech guilds. Everybody's happy, everybody's joyous.
Win-win.
Didn't go rogue, didn't turn into Psycho Batman.
Win-win-win.
Yeah. So he imposed his kind of preferred style of warfare on his legion when he took them over, using kind of guerrilla tactics and stealth and all the rest of it. And he became known as an extremely kind of tactical and strategic leader, but really unconventional in terms of what units he would use and how he deployed them. And that's kind of what stood him apart from the others. People said that he, on a strategic level, he could compete with Gilliman and with Horus, who were kind of deemed the most strategically savvy, but he was just completely unconventional in how he would do things. They got to test, because of how they fought, they ended up getting to test the kind of stealthy marks of power armor that came out later, and all sorts of stuff. They were a proper niche scalpel tool for the Emperor during the Great Crusade. So yeah, basically the good version of the Night Lords. They did it the right way, where the Night Lords went off the deep end and used terror tactics and stuff. These guys just did more traditional kind of guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, they sound pretty cool.
Yeah, and they're emos. So
emos to win.
Yeah, again, dark planet, pale skin, black hair, the usual.
Yeah,
good times. Right, I like it. Last one.
Oh,
the 20th Legion.
Right, hit me up. Alpha Legion.
Yes, and their Primarch, Alfarius Omegon.
Alfarius.
Heard of him?
Omegon. Oh. I have. I've heard of the name. Yeah, I've heard of the name.
Yeah, because I am Alfarius, and you are Alfarius, and we are all Alfarius. So, the weird thing.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, we all are. The people will agree with me. If you are also Alfarius, tell him in the comments that you are also Alfarius. Yeah, so the weird thing about Alfarius Omegon is that there was two of them. So they are kind of listed as one Primarch, but they are actually two Primarchs.
Like twinsies, or?
Twinsies, yes.
Twinsies.
Yeah. Okay. There's so much conflicting tales of how Alfarius was discovered that nobody really knows what the truth is. There is a rumor that he was found last. There is another rumor that he was actually found first. But because of his skill set and because of how he is, the Emperor kept him hidden and kept him a secret, because he is the spy. He is the sneaky beaky James Bond of Primarchs.
Oh, okay. You see, saying he, but you said it was two.
Yeah, so there is another one. So there's two of them, and they look the same. So Omegon, he turned up far away from Terra on an empty, nameless world, living alone on an empty planet, blah, 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 blah. But he figured out that he was manufactured. He discovered a Xenos weapon called the Pale Spear, and blah, blah, blah. Human pirates arrived on his planet, stole the ship, and escaped.
Okay.
Amegon announced his arrival. Basically, he intercepted some Space Marine ships
Right.
that were on the Great Crusade, and almost defeated them with these fleet of pirate ships that he'd accrued and stuff, and presented himself like, surprise, I'm here. So they didn't find him, he found them. But nobody can kind of untwine who's who in all of this, because potentially Alferis had already been discovered at this point. They go on to talk about how the twins are psychically linked. They don't know if that is if they were always twins in the pod, or if that's something that happened, or it's just weird. Nobody knows, because Alpha Legion, so everything is a secret and everything is a lie. So nobody knows. Like, you look at the lore pages, it's like, oh, this is a dubious account, or this was then later confirmed as a lie, and you just don't know anything. You don't know what's true. You don't know anything. So, like, during the account when he boarded the ship Alferis, or according to their own account, Amegon used a ragtag fleet of primitive 1- and 2-man fighters to cleverly outmaneuver the Lunar Wolves fleet and put them in a precarious position. Horus had to intervene because of how bad it was going, and then they boarded the Vengeful Spirit, which was Horus's ship with the Lunar Wolves, and Amegon made his way through to the bridge, killing several Lunar Wolf Marines before Horus himself intervened. Welcoming his lost brother, he declared that he'd found the last Primarch, asking for his name, and Amegon replied, "I am Alfarius." So it's like, it's just insane. So the thing that makes them stand out is that they were smaller than all the other Primarchs. They look like a big Space Marine rather than a huge
giant. Yeah.
Which effectively means that they can kind of blend in really, really easily to other Space Marines, because they don't look, Horus is ginormous and stands heads above his legionnaires.
Yeah.
Alfarius and Amegon aren't, and they kind of just blend in. So, yeah, it's really, really weird. They use like traditional kind of subterfuge and sabotage and proper like spy tactics. So they got used as specialist operatives effectively.
Yeah.
They kind of, I don't know, they didn't have a real structure. They were completely unstructured, and it span out people like Rabuti Gulliman, because they were like, what are you doing? They were looking at how the Alpha Legion operated, and it was just a mishmash. It seemed like there was no chain of command. They just went off the rails and just did everything in a really weird way. There's a great story, and I'll just skim over it, but there's a great story where a guy was following what he thought was a spy on a planet, and he'd been tailing this guy and trying to investigate this spy corrupt element of government for like a year or whatever it was. And he's finally tracked this guy down, and he's chasing him in some tunnels under a hive city, and he finally gets him cornered, and he chases him to the end of this tunnel, and the guy turns around and he's wearing his face. They're completely, it's bizarre that nobody, you can't put a finger on what they're doing or how they're doing it or whatever. They are completely background war fighters, and they're fighting wars that people don't even know are happening. And that's how Alfarius is, that they are just, from day dot, they were deceptive and hidden and schnurgly.
Beaky, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just how they've remained forever. So there's so very little about them that is nailed on. It's all just speculation, rumor, lie. Yeah,
that's crazy. Isn't
it's insane. It's insane. They're brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant as a chapter and as a pair of Primarchs. But there just isn't a lot to talk about because nobody knows.
Absolutely nuts.
It's really dubious. The rumors of them being found first suggest that he was raised by Malkador, the Sigillite, who's a huge character in the lore, and he mentored Alfarius. And it's him who kind of nested the morals of, being an individual and secrecy and necessity and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
and that he was kept a secret. You just don't know what's true, because some of this stuff is declared a lie and actually was found last, and that when Horus found, or when Amagon boarded the Vengeful Spirit at the end of the Great Crusade, or towards the end of the Great Crusade, and met him, that was the first time that Alpharius was found, because Amagon called himself Alpharius. You just don't, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows what's true. Everything is a lie, and I am Alpharius.
But without the law, it's difficult to, real law. I assume people play these.
They do, yes, yeah. But the law is just as it's just as vague.
Yeah.
Like there's things get more nailed on as the story develops, but finding them is muddy water. Like there's stuff nailed on later on that is absolute. We know that happened for sure. We know exactly what they did and who they fought and how they did it, but we can't talk about that because that's for later. In terms of their origin story, it's muddy water. And if there's people in the comments who know more, or people watching who know more, please put it in the comments, because I would love to learn more. But I've trawled through loads of different stuff, and the kind of culmination of it all is nobody really knows for sure. There's two angles. Either they were found first, kept a secret, trained by Malcador, and have always been operating in the background, or found last, but the person who's found last isn't Alpha. It's just confusing. I don't.
Before you black out.
No.
Mm-hmm. That's
I don't know. Yeah, it's good times. Like, did the Emperor even know they were twins? We don't know if the Emperor knew they were twins, because they always claimed to be Alpharius. They were never together. They were always claimed to be the same one person.
They sound nuts.
Yeah. So, other people don't know.
Yeah. If their pretend dad doesn't know, how are we meant to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
And then later, all of the actual Space Marines in the Legion also all claim to be Alpharius. So it's bizarre. Like it's mental. It's just, it doesn't work, and I don't get it, and it hurts my brain.
Believe me, it's hurting mine, and it doesn't take much.
No, you struggled to count to 13 earlier.
It's a rough gig. Right.
But that is us complete. That is all the
Primarchs skimmed over. Every single one. All right, so that is all the Primarchs nipped, done. And the next episode, Jay, will be about the Chaos Gods.
Yes, so we're rounding out the kind of fundamental cast members of the big opera that is Warhammer 40K. The last part, following the Primarchs, is the Chaos Gods.
And that is because it's... the Primarchs got launched into space by these guys, so we may as well talk about them.
Yeah, get a firm understanding of who they are and what they do, and then that'll put us in good stead to start talking about what happened between then and now.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you very much for listening or watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
See you then.